It's now time to take a drive around the SEC.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Incredible summer savings all summer long on the entire lineup of award-winning Chevys. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
All right. Welcome once again to this, the Love Chevy Drive Around the SEC, presented by the fine folks of Love Chevy over there in Harbison, home of the $1,000 low price guarantee, no matter where you are in the state of South Carolina. Kind of like we were talking about where the state championships would be. It kind of makes sense to make it central, where you're just a couple hours away from everybody. Well, that's where Love Chevy is, just a couple hours from just about everybody in the state. And no matter where you are, you can enjoy great savings, unmatched inventory. Again, home of the $1,000 low price guarantee. You teased it to break, Jamie, so let's get into it. The all SEC list, a number of Gamecocks on it, including 3 first-teamers: Kyle Kennard, Nick Emanwuri, and Kai Kroger. No surprises really on all 3 of those. Second team, Rocket Sanders. Third team, offensive lineman Torricelli Simpkins and Lenoris Sellers. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts?
Yeah. I thought it wasn't surprising, but it's surprising under the umbrella that he was a redshirt freshman coming into the season, and they opened the year with, some tough losses. He went down, he got injured. I don't think at that point in time, I thought everybody was still really focused on 2025 for Lenore Sellers breaking out. Not so sure that anybody saw him breaking out halfway through 2024, and he certainly did that. He's being rewarded for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's an incredible honor, really. There's not a whole lot of first-year starters that make any of those teams at quarterback. It's a really, really difficult thing to do. The first 2, by the way, Jackson Dart was first team. Quinn Ewers was second team, all SEC. Just real quick, I won't go through all 3 lists, but just on the first team: Dart, quarterback; Dylan Sampson of Tennessee; Jarquez Hunter of Auburn, running back. Hard to argue with those 2. Hard to argue with Ryan Williams, Luther Burden at wideout; Eli Stowers, the tight end at Vanderbilt; the O-line, Banks of Texas; Will Campbell of LSU, who's, again, going to be top 10 pick; Tyler Booker of Alabama; Tate Ratledge of Georgia. The center was Cooper Mays of Tennessee. All-purpose Dylan Sampson of Tennessee. And then you've got on the line, now this is an NFL line: Kennard, Nolan, Scorton, Pierce of Tennessee, and Old Princely of Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Those are all Sunday players.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about what separates the SEC from the Big Ten, from the Big 12, from the AC, that's it. Just look at your first team, because there's great skill players everywhere in the country. Right. Every league's got them. But you cannot match the defensive linemen in the SEC. Just can't do it. Linebacker, Danny Stutzman of Oklahoma. He's fun to watch. I got to say, he is a fun player to watch. Jahad Campbell of Alabama, Whit Weeks of LSU, and then the secondary, Trey Amos of Ole Miss, no relation to Tori Amos.
Or
Nick Emanwuri.
Not famous Amos Cookies either, right?
No. I don't think he's part of that fortune, although I'm sure he wouldn't mind being part of it.
Me too.
Emanwuri, Moore of Alabama, and Barron of Tennessee. Your kicker is Alex Rayner of Kentucky. Your punter, Kai Kroger of Carolina. Return specialist, Berrien Brown, who, like so many other Kentucky players in the portal right now, more on that in a moment. They even had the long snapper. Who did not admire the work of Bo Gardner of Georgia, long snapping this year? I know I tuned in many a Saturday specifically to watch him snap that perfect ball to the holder every time out.
Yeah. More of a Hunter Rogers guy myself in Carolina, but I hear you.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the all, and I know you've got the All-American list, so we'll get to that in a second. I don't know what's going to happen at Arkansas this offseason but so far it's not great. Are you following what's going on with the portal for the Razorbacks?
Yeah. What's the number at? It was 21 yesterday morning.
24 is now what they're up to in total departures. Their offensive line has been ravaged. They're losing skill play. They're losing just everywhere. And there's a lot of there's somebody, and I don't remember who it was. I think it was a writer, tweeted out like Lane Kiffin is just absolutely killing Arkansas in the portal by taking some of its players. Lane retweeted it and then took it down. So, Arkansas. Bobby. And again, Arkansas's got money. I don't know what's going on there, but for Sam Pittman, who's going to be back at least for one more year, and Petrino and company, they're going to lose a lot of players. So that is number one in the country. Not far behind is Kentucky. They've lost 20 guys, including their top their top three wide receivers, including Berrien Brown and Dane Key. Of course, there's a lot of talk about Dane Key. I know he's got some connections to Georgia. Obviously, Carolina. Every school would love to have a Dane Key. Both of those guys would be a nice addition. But I'll let JC and company give you more update on where that stands. But yeah, for Mark Stoops and company, this is going to be a rough off season. Behind them is Mississippi State. This might be addition by subtraction. Levy inherited a mess. I don't blame Jeff Levy for this past year. They've lost 19 guys, but I'm not so sure that all those guys are exactly who he wanted. Sometimes when you're a Jeff Levy and you take over a job like that, get it out the door. Go ahead, leave. Yeah. We need a new culture in here. We need new players in here. We need different stuff. And fourth in the SEC in lost players, believe it or not, is Texas A&M.
Right.
So they ranked among the top 10 power conference teams with the most transfer portal departures last year. And they're trending again high in that department this year. The remaining names from that historic number one recruiting class in 2022 continues to dwindle as Connor Wigman is already in the portal. Defensive lineman Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy is in the portal. Malik Sela is in the portal. Offensive lineman Cam Dewberry and Hunter Erb also in the portal. So all those guys that came over for the boatload of cash and Noel Jimbo Fisher, they're just about all gone. It's a complete facelift. Now, Mike Elko's a good coach, and they're still going to get good players, and they still got incredible resources. But as of right now, they're treading water a little bit. Of course, they had what was their recruiting class ranked? I don't have it off the top of my head, but it was pretty high.
Yeah, can't remember.
They did well on that in that area. The SEC championship came and went, and for those that are thinking, conference championship games have just, they've run their course. It's stale. I don't care. What's the point with the playoff? Well, people still care. The game sells out before we even know the matchup every year. And in terms of eyeballs, 16.6 million viewers. Folks, that is a grand slam of viewership. That's just, and there are other games going on at the time. But Texas-Georgia going overtime, 16.6 million. That game is not going anywhere. You may want it to go. You may think that, why do I care? It's not going anywhere. So Georgia, of course, wins it. That's the third SEC championship crown for Kirby Smart. Name the only two coaches with more.
Well, Nick Saban and Steve Spurrier.
Yep. Spurrier won 5. He also won one in 91 before the game actually started in 1992 in Birmingham. Closest to the pin, Nick Saban. How many do you think, Jamie?
He won 9.
Mad Dog?
I was going to say 7.
11.
11. Yeah.
11.
And he lost 1?
That's a good
1
question.
or 2?
He lost at least 1, yeah. He wasn't undefeated. I'd have to go back and double check what his exact record was.
Yeah. For a guy who's there.
He definitely lost to one of those urban teams and then avenged the loss with a win in 2009 before they won the national title. So I know he lost at least once to urban, but I want to say he lost another time as well. James says he lost the first time.
Yeah.
Well, that would have been to Florida.
Well, that would have been
08.
08, yeah.
But I did he not lose one to? I know Kirby got dominated by Nick in that game. But did Kirby not win? That's
No, that was one where Kirby defeated him in the regular season, right? And then
that
Nick
was always
got
the trend.
Revenge.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Kirby was okay against Nick in the regular season, but when it came to Atlanta, Nick owned him. Nick owned everybody. But he did lose one to Urban. I thought he lost one more, but I could be wrong.
Did he? When did he leave?
What about 2013?
13 was Auburn, Missouri.
Yeah, that was.
When did Saban leave LSU?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We're including LSU in those. Yeah. He left for the Dolphins in 05. He was with the Dolphins 05, 06. His first year at Bama was 07. So after the 04 season, he left LSU.
Yeah, so that was not his loss in 05. Because I saw LSU lost to Georgia in 05, but that would have been Les Miles.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Of course, the coordinator hires continues to be a story, and we already talked quite a bit about Mike Shula getting promoted at Carolina. There's still some coordinator talk out there. We'll keep you posted on that. And I had the point spreads for all the SEC games I wanted to get to, and I'll see if I can find that. By the way, and we'll start talking more basketball as it comes out. What the SEC doing this year is historic. Another out-of-conference win against a top 25 team last night, as Arkansas, which is one of the few unranked teams in the league right now under Calipari. Crazy game. They almost blew it again, but they beat Michigan on a neutral floor, Jimmy V week. You had Missouri taking down number 1 Kansas. Missouri's projected bottom third of the league this year. Mm-hmm. They went ahead. You already talked about the domination in the ACC Challenge, 14-2. You could very well have a situation, and this is where it applies to Carolina. You could go 9-9 in the SEC and wind up not only in the tournament, but have like a 5 seed. It's possible, especially if Carolina beats Clemson, which is by far and away the highest ranked opponent left in the non-conference slate.
Clearly it's December. The season isn't over, although it would be to some folks if they lose to the Tigers. But they need to beat Clemson.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to do it, but I by no means will I diminish the importance of the game on a number of levels. I agree with you, Jamie, but I still think if you lose that game, that'd be what, the 4th loss?
Yeah.
You can still play your way into the tournament because the net ranking of the SEC right now is so sky high. I've never seen it like this. I've never seen the SEC have a better November, December. So almost every game you play this year, if you're Carolina, will be a quad 1 with a couple of exceptions, which will be quad 2. Quad 3 does not exist in the SEC this year.
Right.
So you have chances, you have data points upon data points where you can really build a resume even if you don't have a great non-con.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that. You're 100% right. I agree with that through and through. I'm arguing the fact that what we just got through with the College Football Playoff Committee could come up again with basketball. I mean, how many teams are they actually going to put in this thing from the SEC? Now, I'm not saying that 13 of them might not be deserving of being in there. That's not what I'm getting at here. What I'm saying is if Carolina finishes 9-9 with virtually no high-quality wins outside of the league, and they go 500 in league play and finish with 12 or 13 losses, I don't care how many great teams they beat in the SEC. Those same teams in the league are going to have wins just like that. Yep. And then you're going to go to the non-con and you're going to go, well, what did they do? And if Carolina doesn't have a big shining diamond out there, that could be a major striking. What North Florida? Forget it. Who cares what happened in the first game of the season? That's not what I'm talking about. People are going to harp on that. That's bull crap. It's the big wins, because you're going to take some hits in the conference play, and you're going to be paired against your peers. And I'm scared to death that that's what's going to eliminate some of these teams. They'll deserve to be in, but they won't get in.
100. Everything you said is spot on. And when I was talking about the 8-8 number 5 seed, that doesn't apply to Carolina.
No,
Carolina has. If you lose to Clemson, you've kind of dug a hole where you'd have to do better than that. But you wouldn't have to be like 13-5. Like, if you have a winning record in the SEC, it's not like Carolina's non-conference has been atrocious. Like it hasn't been as good as some people would have wanted. I told you I thought they would take some lumps, and they have, but
not bad ones in Florida. But
yeah.
Xavier and Indiana, you're not getting struck for those.
Not at all. Not at all. Remember last year, Mississippi State lost a game to Southern at home and still made the NCAA tournament. Like, so right. It's not. I know there's still some PTSD from that Stetson loss, one of Frank's teams, that if you flip that result, you're probably in the big dance. But I think Carolina still has a lot to play for. I'll actually have their SEC opener at Mississippi State.
Oh, I mean, Mike, they have the worst record in the SEC. 6-3.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, and not everybody's scheduled Indiana.
Look at Vanderbilt's schedule. I mean,
yeah. Well, they're in rebuild mode. Although I will tell you, that Byington dude, he can coach.
Oh, he can
coach. The hell of a hire. Quickly on the end, since I teased it, the bowl game lines for SEC teams: Texas and Clemson. Texas is an 11-point favorite. Wait a minute. Yeah, Texas is 11-point favorite. Yeah. Tennessee. Where am I? How did that just happen? Okay, now my computer just...
Tennessee's a 7.5-point dog.
Against Ohio State.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know why that...
Oh, don't worry, Mike. I've dealt with all the issues today. I can pick you up on the back end if you need it.
Okay, I got it now. Okay, I don't know why my computer's going haywire here. Carolina, 10.5-point favorite against Illinois in the Cheez-It Citrus. Alabama, 11.5-point favorite over Michigan in the Relia Quest. It'll always be the Outback to me.
And it'll always be the Capital One Bowl too, by the way.
Yeah, and the Pool and Weed Eater. It'll always be Pool and Weed Eater to me.
No.
In the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, Ole Miss is an 11.5-point favorite against Duke. Texas A&M taking on the Trojans in Vegas. Cool bowl game. Aggies are a 2.5-point favorite in that one. Missouri in the Music City Bowl taking on Iowa. Mizzou's a 3-point favorite. LSU in the, what is Kinder's? Kinder's Texas Bowl. What is a Kinder?
That is, well, I know what that is.
They do brownies? What do they do?
Yeah, they do. They're like bars, like protein bars. My kids eat them all the time.
Oh, Kinder?
Is it Kinder?
Kinder. Yeah, it's a European chocolate tier. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So not really a protein bar. There's not a whole lot of protein in that thing, is there?
I don't know.
Well,
a lot of sugar.
If it's the same one that we buy, they're like black boxes.
Okay.
Kinders on.
That kind of Kinder.
So Jamie has a sponsorship deal for Kinders.
Maybe it is Kinders. I don't know.
Well,
I don't think that the Europeans haven't swept in and wiped out bowl season yet, have they?
No. And it is Kinders. I don't know what that is. Maybe you are right. Yeah. If it were just Kinder with no S, it would be Kinder, which is the German chocolatier. So yes. I don't know what's going on.
All right. Well, that's one of the great mysteries of our time. We'll leave it there. But LSU is a 2-point favorite against Baylor, regardless of whether it's Kinder or Kinder. Florida taking on Tulane. Tulane's quarterback transferring. Florida's 13.
Oh, you know what? Wait, it could be the. Wait a second. It could be the seasoning. Because I've got one of them in my. It's got a Longhorn on it.
Yeah,
could be the steak seasoning. I bet that's what it is.
Craig says Kinder is a meat rub.
That's what it is.
That's
you're right.
exactly it. Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don't mind the Germans and the youth bars,
no,
Craig.
no.
We apologize. We're having technical difficulties.
And yeah.
We just completely blew up that sponsorship.
Again.
Well, that's why you
Chocolate
sponsor,
bars.
so people know who you
Yeah,
are.
that's right. That way you can
It's the
demystify
point.
your brand. That way
That's
it's
the whole
you know,
point of this.
your
thing.
barbecue
Yeah.
sauce is not,
Yeah.
confused with eggs with
I've
toys
got-
for children.
I've got a
We're never gonna be
bottle of
invited.
their steak season.
So is it Kinder or Kinder?
I
Kinders.
think it's Kinder. Yeah.
Kinder's meat rub, not to be confused with a Kind chocolate square.
Yeah. This is a
That you
great.
need.
I wonder how much they paid for that because that's a great sponsorship for them. Yeah, I'm thinking of the kind bars.
Oh,
maybe?
Kind bars.
Kind
Yeah,
bars.
Kind
Yeah,
bars. Those
that's
are
what it is.
yeah, like granola.
Yeah.
I know what a
protein.
Kind
There
bar
you
is.
Yeah, Kind
Yeah.
bar. I like
Old
that.
know it all, acting like I know what I'm talking about. I don't.
Well, you know what?
Get-
You took
get
us
a
down a
bunch.
rabbit hole that I'm glad we went because thanks to our great chat row and people like Craig, now we know it's a meat rub.
Oh, let me click off of private and look over at the. You know me. I don't look at the comments usually. Okay.
Oh, good. No, you
Oh,
should-
Ben. All right. Thank you, Greg.
Yeah.
Greg's
yeah,
on it.
and Ben gives an even deeper dive, talking about the difference between the Kind bar and the
Yeah.
Kinder.
Sorry about that. Okay. Back
It's
to private
always
chat.
it's always fun to see what people get fired up about. But who knew? Like, I would have never even thought to. That's why I asked the question because I had no idea. I don't mind telling you, I had no clue. All right, the Gasparilla Bowl. Get back on track here for a second. What is a Gasparilla? I don't know, but
That's a pirate thing, isn't it? Hold on, didn't we learn that last year?
We've
Oh,
done this.
Well, no, that I knew. Okay, the sponsor is
Yeah.
Union Home Mortgage.
Well, that's
Which-
fairly self-explanatory.
That's explanatory, but we all know if you want to get a good mortgage,
Yeah.
you call Troy Branham, the guy in the upper left-hand portion of your screen. You don't call whoever these fine folks are. South Carolinians, they know the deal. They call Troy Branham Golden
Well,
Gate.
They have the Gasparilla event, Mike, in Tampa every year. It's a pirate.
Yeah,
event.
yeah. I've never. And by the way, well,
Oh, I thought you went. No, okay.
this for those that were thinking, because I saw some Gamecock fans are like, if it winds up being Tampa, let's go to Ybor City. No. And for those that going to Orlando, and I was there a year ago, they put
Wait,
us right-
whoa! Has Ybor City like gone downhill?
yeah,
I haven't been there in a while.
yeah.
Mm,
And for that
sucks.
matter, Church Street, it's not what you might have remembered 10 years ago.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
I was just there a year ago. Stayed right there at a hotel for calling a Magic Hawks game, and let's just say it has fallen. Church Street used to be the shiznit. Okay,
Yeah.
it used to, like if you went to Orlando, Church Street was the place. But it's what happens in cities; things change. So little tip. Okay, the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Now, Lockheed Martin's like a financial thing, right? They do. I think that's
No,
like those hedge fund guys or something.
Lockheed Martin is avionics and military equipment. Yeah,
defense.
Lockheed makes planes.
Yeah,
They make
like
okay.
they're in the aerospace industry.
I just
Arrows.
watched the Joan Benet Ramsey doc on Netflix.
Yeah.
The dad, who was wrongfully accused of the murder, that's who he worked for.
Oh, for
Mm.
Lockheed.
He worked for Lockheed Martin. I was like, oh, that's the bowl sponsor.
But
I still didn't know what they did, but I remembered that they were a sponsor. So anyway, that's the Armed Forces Bowl. Oklahoma 8.5-point favorite over Navy. The Birmingham Bowl, Georgia Tech 2.5-point favorite against the Commodores. The Liberty Bowl, Arkansas 2.5-point favorite against Texas Tech. And of course, the three teams I didn't mention because they got left out: Auburn at 5-7, Kentucky at 4-8, Mississippi State at 2-10. And that will do it for our Love Chevy inappropriately sponsored chocolate barbecue rub sponsorship thing presented by Love Chevy. Maestro, take us away.
This really is the most wonderful time of the year at Love Chevy, with the biggest discounts of the year and the most abundant selection we've seen in decades. I-26 at Harbison and lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.